Good evening and welcome to the Jungle Gym's weekly roundup. Today is Tuesday, the 9th of... Fuck, I almost forgot forgot the month, 9th of November. And it's myself and Paddy. Paddy, how you doing, mate?
I'm not bad, mate. At least I can remember the date.
Jesus Christ. Right, okay. Aye. So, I was about to say September, man, the 9th of September. Right, 9th of November. Fuck, okay, this is going to be a long episode tonight, isn't it?
Well,
Aye,
do you
mate,
know
how
what,
you doing?
mate? I'm actually not bad. Like I've got some classic games on in the background, and there's a game there the new for I think it's 1880. 1880, fuck's sake. Not that old. 1988, and Terry Hullock's face has just come up, and I swear to God, man, what an ugly, ugly bastard that was. Played for Rangers, curly hair.
I can't. Did he play for? Was he a really, really tough player? He came for England.
Oh, he was a
Terry
horrible bastard, mate. He was like
Did he have like funny hair? Funny hair?
he had like long, curly, stringy hair, but he was like a worse version than what do you call him? Kevin Muscat. Remember him?
Yeah.
Aye. A
Well,
horrible, scummy player.
Yeah, so I take it this is one of the games that we win that you're watching here.
I certainly hope so. If it's not turning off.
Aye, well, it definitely doesn't sound like a Celtic DVD if we lost that game anyway.
No, we're winning 2-0. Aye, that's all right. We're winning. That's fine. I'll leave it on.
Nice one. Aye, mate. Right, where do we start? So, since the last podcast, Celtic went away to Dundee and we won 4-2. So, do you want to talk about that, mate?
Aye, that was a great game. As the banner there suggests, we were up there away from home, 1-4-2, brilliant. Some of the football was excellent. The attacking intent was everything was there. You had Kyogo and Jota, 2 goals each. Kyogo's movement, but listen, what else can you say about Kyogo's movement? It's incredible. He's like a wee ghost, and I don't mean like the funny Halloween fucking production they tried to do. Aye, Casper, aye. The funny Halloween production they tried to do in Celtic TV, but I mean in terms of his movement, it's almost Larsson-esque, the way that he goes in behind defenders and in between and gets into the spaces. And do you know something? It must be an absolute joy.
Do you think he even uses toilet paper? See why he takes a shite? Do you think he even uses toilet paper?
I hope so.
You know, a ghosty, get it?
Fuck.
Yeah, by the way, to the viewers, before we started recording, some of the dad jokes that I was hearing for Paddy would definitely outdo that one. So give me credit, please.
Aye, they would shame all the devils in hell, by the way. They were horrendous.
Indeed.
So hopefully I'll be able to produce another few. But no, that's what I was going to say. Kyogo must be an absolute pleasure. See, if you're like the one that's trying to create the goals from, i.e., in this instance for this game, like Ralston. How good must it be knowing that your efforts, like say if you're running down the line, you're trying to get by a player, you're trying to get a ball in, how good is it knowing that might actually properly turn into a goal at almost every opportunity, which it did at the start because Ralston, I think, hit a shot. It was kind of on the right hand side, outside the box, and he hit a raspberry shot, and it went through everybody, and it hit off the post, and it came out, and wee Kyogo got in it. So
that was Jota. Jota got the first one.
Was it? Sorry, was it?
Aye, George Michael, yeah.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. That's how much homework I've done for the game of But my point still stands. Like it's great knowing that you've at least got that chance. Like you know, that your chances are going to get converted, and you've got guys there who are getting into that space. They're creating it. Guys that are exciting you. You know what I mean? You look at the fans in the stands. They were loving it. They were absolutely loving it with Kyogo through the centre again. Brilliant, and Jota just doing his thing.
Mate, I made the point like maybe 2 months ago. The movement of Kyogo, I've not seen anything of that same standard since going back to Robbie Keane. I know, obviously, like everybody's thinking about Larson, but the only one to break up that if you've got Larson and like one time period you've got Kyogo here, the only person in between would probably be Robbie Keane for me. Different types of players, but the movement was second to none when you're playing in the SPL.
Absolutely, and as you'll probably remember, like when Robbie Keane came in, his movement was that good that with the squad of players he was playing at the time, he was always 3 or 4 steps ahead of him, and he was always offside. But it was only because the players who were trying to lay the ball in for him were so slow off the mark. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He came
all about football intelligence.
Aye. Robbie Keane had it in abundance, and I'm trying to think who did we have, like McGeady, right? He was probably the best kind of outfield player that we had at that time. But you had guys like Diamante Camara, Landry, and Guemo. You know what I mean? These are the guys that are going to be thinking, right, this guy's 2 steps ahead of me all the time. Aye, the DJ, the ghost DJ. But I actually found one of his wage slips, believe it or not.
How did you come across that?
Well, I'll explain that to you, Gavin. If you'll give me a chance. No, I went on the Celtic tour in that season. And you took obviously about the stadium, took into the trophy room, then you get down to the Celtic changing room. So me being the nosy bastard that I'm I actually started going through the lockers and I found a wage slip.
Jesus Christ.
I found a wage slip and Mr. Diamante Camara, and I'm like, all right. Fucking jumped on it. And it was $7,500 we were paying him a week.
Really?
2007, aye.
That's actually quite low considering the fact that he came out from the Premier League. But I guess it was at the tail end of his career. And I think Greta Thunberg would do her nut, the fact that we took so long to go paperless for those pay slips back then. Aye. Imagine that. Saying that you could have found money, you know what I mean? £100 note in the backer. Aye. Anyway, back to the game. The tennis ball protest at the start of the game. So the game kicks off, and then within like a minute or whatever, the Celtic support. I don't know if our young Daza was in amongst it as well. But a bunch of tennis balls flung onto the court. So we did mention the protest against Bernard Higgins last week when we did the weekly roundup. And we made everybody aware of the kind of why there's such a deep feeling against this alleged appointment. So the Celtic board have not responded to the banner, the pamphlets, to the minute silence that was organised by certain fan groups of Celtic, and quite widely backed by the wider fan base of Celtic. So the Celtic board have kept stum, and then the Celtic fans have continued it away at Dens Park by disrupting the play, and you had the stewards, you had the officials, you had even the Celtic players picking up the tennis balls and putting them off the pitch. So definitely a point made again, and I think there was another banner to say the ball is in your court. What is it, Higgins or fans, something along those lines. That was the banner. Mate, the Celtic board need to respond. You know what I mean? Like, there's a wedge has been driven between the fans and the board. It was bad enough last season. There's a lot of positives now to take from this season with the football, with what's going on the park. But if the Celtic board don't pay heed to this, Dermot Desmond, then things are only going to get worse. I know that if you're the owner of a club, you might be of the mind that fans are, of course, the lifeblood of the club, but they cannot dictate policy, because otherwise, what's the point in you being the owner if it's the fans who are always going to dictate policy? But there are certain things that are very, very close to the bone that the fans are. They feel it's worthy enough to be so principled in their stance. So, would you reckon, Jink, the board are just they've got that out because they've never actually been official in saying we're going to appoint the guy. So because there's never been any official word from Celtic board, they can easily just say no, we're not going to make the appointment. But does that give in to the Celtic fans? What do you think is a likely outcome, Jink? It's going to rumble on for a wee bit longer.
Well, you're talking about the board no making any statements. As you say, this is an alleged appointment. Nothing's been confirmed. Nothing's been set in stone. as you said as well, like all it takes is if it's no true would be for somebody for the board or even like a John Paul Taylor on the fans liaison. Sorry, for somebody to come out and say this hasn't happened, that's not happened. So we can only assume that there must be something kind of brewing in the fire there. But in terms of the board, I think it's more than obvious that the board couldn't give a flying fuck in regards to supporters' opinions. They only want your opinions when it suits them. If they're ready to make an appointment, allegedly, that X amount of fans don't like, I don't think they give one consideration to that. They're only considering for their standpoint. Regards to the protest, I think it was pretty clever in its delivery, but obviously the timing of it is a bit of a contentious issue, because what had happened was they flung a multitude of tennis balls onto the park, and at the starting whistle. Sorry, I'm rabbiting on here. Flung the tennis balls on the park at the kickoff, which had to be basically kicked off by like Joe Hart. Jota was coming down the broad trying to kick the balls off, and you've seen Joe Hart as well. He's kind of trying to say, look, stop flinging balls on.
I saw that. Aye.
2 minutes delay isn't going to kill anybody, right? It's obvious.
But they made their point. They did. See, what I was thinking is, see if it continues, it rumbles on. Like, one tactic I'm thinking that the board might be playing is the long game. They might wait longer and then possibly make the appointment. If they think right now it's too much of a tumultuous time right now, they might just wait for another few months before making the appointment. And I'm wondering if the Celtic fans groups like the Green Brigade, the North Curve, and the boys, etc., if they're going to up the ante. So they've already did the 30-minute silence, the pamphlets, the banner, and now they've done the tennis balls, which disrupted the play. What if they were to up the ante again? It's going to get worse and worse and worse. And the ball, like, surely it totally is in the board's court right now. They need to respond to it. They need to kind of quell this. They need to pour cold water over it. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. We don't need that as a sideshow for this season. It's a big season. We don't want it to affect the players, because you could say arguably it may have affected the Celtic players when what was that? In the game where we had the 30-minute silence. It arguably could have affected them in that game. So while I totally get the fans' tactics, because it's something really close to the heart, the onus is on the Celtic board. We can't have this keep continuing, man.
But then that's when you need some sort of a conversation or some sort of a dialogue between the upper echelons and the fucking Joe Average in the stands. But you don't get that. It's a known fact that you don't get that. I mean, even last season when we were in the midst of an absolute capitulation, you know what I mean? You had people up at Celtic Park. They were putting up fences. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't give a shit then. What's going to change now? Nothing's going to change, because it's still the same board with the same fucking stuck up opinions and just total, like, they don't really care about us, mate. They only care about the pounds that we can put in. They don't care about what affects us. They don't give a shit as long as they're getting their shiny dime in their pocket. Let's be honest.
Yeah, well, they might. Another tactic that they might pull out is hit them where it hurts money-wise, and like put out protests to say don't buy any more merchandise from the club. I don't know, like that's probably a long way away. Hopefully, it would never ever come to that. But that the ante is going to be upped. But we'll kind of wrap up from it for that side just there, and kind of finish off with the actual football game itself. So 4-2, as you said, Kyogo and Jota, 2 goals each. I think Ralston got 2 assists. I know that for the first goal, he had a massive contribution to that with the shot. deflected, then it hit the post, came off, and Jota scored. But Ralston put in 2 great crosses, and that were converted. And the final goal, when Jota had such an amazing game up the left wing, but he skinned his marker again, and then he crosses it in. A low pass for Kyogo, who shoots and hits off the post and goes in. And watching the replay back, it was funny watching the keeper's reaction to it, because he tries to get it, it goes off the post, and then he actually looks behind him to see, did that actually go in or not? Like, it just happened so fast. Mate, I'm not going to make the argument about who's better, Furuhashi or Jota, but it is a pleasure to see both of them right now. They're on fire. I never anticipated how good they'd be, but my God, they are providing a lot of entertainment.
But the two of them look as if they're enjoying their football as well, so that surely can only add to their confidence. And
absolutely.
Jota's basically been getting a free run to go and kind of do what he wants. He's allowed to go and produce the magic. We Furuhashi, I think the argument is over and done with, where he's got to start. He's got to start through the middle, regardless. He's just playing his game. As I say, his movement's it's phenomenal. He's finishing, albeit you've seen some stinkers of misses, some near chances, but over and all, his finishing's been really, really good. But he's getting himself into the positions because he's so clever, and he's got that kind of that wee turn of pace to get by a defender as well. And it obviously helps that Ralston's like a fucking man possessed down the right hand side. I mean,
Did you see that one with Charlie Adam?
Mate, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Was that his second assist?
Yeah, it was a second assist, maybe the third goal for Celtic, I think.
Aye. So basically, he ends up, the ball kind of, somebody passes it to Ralston, and it kind of goes away a wee bit. So he's basically almost the right wing on the line, and Charlie Adam, right? He's a big fat baldy bastard now. He tries to come running that lot of steam train, right? And he just bounces off of Ralston, falls to the deck. Ralston doesn't even it doesn't even take a minute to look at him and say, what was that?
And the Celtic fans, they were loving it at that point. Because it was right in front of them.
And then Ralston just gets on with it, turns round, back up the park, fucking puts a cross in, bang, another goal.
It was utter humiliation for Charlie Adam.
It was. We're going to need to call him tennis racket teeth.
Tennis racket with Charlie Adam. Aye. He could eat a curly whirly without having touched any chocolate. Right, we note there from McGinty putting in a wee message to say he fully deserved the contract, Ralston. Here. We spoke about that in the last weekly roundup, I believe, and I guess we can move on to the next point. So the next point is Greg Taylor. The left back, who's been out injured for maybe a couple of months now. He's now been rewarded with a new deal as well, up until 2025. So we've said, is he Celtic class? Don't mean to demean the boy on one of his on a good professional accomplishment, prolonging his tenure with Celtic, but just to kind of give a bit of background, and I'm sure we're all aware of Greg Taylor. So he's a left back at Celtic. He signed for us 2 years ago from Kilmarnock. I think it was like 3 million, but I've heard other reports that it was less than £3 million. But it was in that summer where we bought him, in my opinion, for 3 million, and we also bought Bolingoli for, I don't know, was it like Rapid Vienna for like 3 million as well?
It was.
Cool. I've got that part right anyway. That's a good start. So he's been with us for 2 years. He's 24 years old right now, and just to give background on his start to Celtic, he had very, very big boots to fill in Kieran Tierney, who's went down and made a success of himself in England for Arsenal. But he signed in the 19-20 season along with Bolingoli. So they two were competing it out for the left-back slot. I think both had mixed success or a mixed failure, however way you want to put it. And then in the following season, we'll never ever forget last season, but there was even more competition. Obviously, Bolly Bolingoli fucked it for himself with COVID and by going off to Spain or whatever. We brought in Laxalt. He was on loan from AC Milan. Some people like to look at him. I think he had a no bad start. And you also had John Joe Kenny. John Joe Kenny on loan from Everton. So that's embarrassing in itself because you've got 4 left backs on your books, 2 of them on loan. Like, what is going wrong at that point? John Joe Kenny actually did get a run of games near the end of the season, but I think it kind of highlights the fact that Greg Taylor had a difficult start to his career at Celtic. I don't think he really convinced many of the Celtic fans, and I am still in that crowd that maybe, I don't know if it is a majority, still waiting to be convinced by Greg Taylor. So yeah, his second season at Parkhead, he never really nailed it down. However, for this season, he has been playing at left back until he got injured. And then again, we need to kind of say that we've got 4 other people who's been playing at left back as well. We've got Josip Juranovic right now, who's not put a foot wrong. He's a right back, but he's playing at left back right now. You've also got Liam Scales, who came in from Shamrock Rovers. We've got Bolly Bolingoli still on our books, just to complicate things. And then, of course, we've got the young youth product, Monty, who everybody wants to see a youth product do well at Celtic, but whether he's a left back or a left wing back or a left midfielder, who knows? But we've had 5 people represent us so far at left back. Taylor's out. I don't think Taylor's going to be ready until at least January, from what Postecoglou alluded to. But how do you sum up Greg Taylor? Is he Celtic class, Paddy? What's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I've kind of made my thoughts pretty clear on Taylor. Excuse me. Start of the season, when we were starting to kind of try and transform into this kind of inverted fullback, you looked at Taylor and you looked at Ralston, and the two of them looked very, very uncomfortable. When you look at Ralston now, you can see a massive progression, both in his personal game and his adaptation to the system. I don't think Taylor has been anywhere near that. But bearing in mind he's been injured a lot this season. I don't know like the boy personally or anything like that. I just don't think he's very good. I think what we did was when we sold Tierney, we tried to basically buy 2. Well, we did buy 2 left backs to replace him, but we didn't buy 1 left back who was any good quality. We got Bolingoli, who by all accounts was like a rampaging left back, but he's just turned into an absolute fucking lunatic bomb scare. He's cost us with the COVID debacle, and he's cost us on the park because he's been absolutely shite.
I'll ask you this: what does Greg Taylor offer you? He doesn't offer you physicality. Ralston's got physicality, but I don't think Greg Taylor has that. Greg Taylor's quite short. I think he's about 5'7". Okay, technically he looks like a tight D player, but he's not really efficient with the ball. I think he plays it safe a lot. That might be characteristic of the team at times where he was playing it safe. I don't think he's overly brave on the ball. He doesn't have a trick in his locker to beat a man, and that's one of the kind of that's an onus on a fullback in modern day times to travel up the park with the ball, to try and beat a man, to provide forward runs. I think, let's see, on a sunny day at Parkhead when we're winning 5-0 and 6-0, then yeah, he'll look fine. He'll look fine. He won't really cause you any problems. But it's whenever the going gets tough, when you can't carry any passengers. So as I said, he doesn't have the physicality. I don't think he doesn't have that trick. I don't think he's overly technically brilliant, and he doesn't have the speed. That's a big thing. He does not have the speed to beat a man. Sometimes if you know what I mean, if you don't have the trick in your locker, you don't have the skill, just fucking do a Didier Agat, just knock it up and just outpace the guy. He doesn't really have a card up his sleeve to beat his man. I think his delivery, I don't know, I think it's mediocre to good. I don't think his delivery is terrible, but neither is it great. I think he's very much a run-of-the-mill man. It's worth pointing out that he's got a few Scotland caps now. He's obviously not going to be a regular because you've got Robertson, you've got Tierney at Scotland anyway. So he's had that international recognition, but he's not going to make much headway at Scotland. And we've already spoken about the competition that he's got now at Parkhead. Is he going to make much headway, especially if Juranovic continues at left back? So he signed a contract until 2025. Postecoglou said it's just reward for his efforts. Where do you see his future?
Well, just to hark back to your question, I think to be nice, to be kind, what Greg Taylor's got, in my opinion, is he's got a decent work rate. You know, he's got a bit of heart about him. But where he lacks massively is I don't think we can take into account his height, right? Because you look at like an Andy Robertson, he was sent away to Celtic because he was too small. Look at where he's ended up. But
I think he ended up at about 5'10".
Aye, a pair of stilts on. But you look at Taylor, right, and he's no overly aggressive. Like, and I don't mean like running in and booting people, but like he gets bullied off the ball. He's no aggressive in his attack that he'll bomb forward and he'll drive by people. He does get himself into good positions at times, right? But where he lacks is his end product. His crossing, I think, is terrible. It's really, really bad. But I don't know. He's obviously signed a new contract. Postecoglou on the books says that he likes him. So have we got any much of a choice other than to say, right, let's kind of get behind the guy and see if he can fit into the system? Or is it going to be a case of he's just there and he's going to be a squad filler, which is something that we don't need because we've had that for the last few seasons.
We've got enough squad fillers.
I know you said John Joe Kenny earlier, but he was at right back. He was on loan.
Sorry, mate.
But the season before that as well, you had another loanee who was what do you call him? Maritz Bauer. That was another loanee, and then on the left hand side, as you said, you had Laxalt. So you've never went and kind of secured players. It's always been stopgap fillers. I don't want that. I want players that's going to be there and is going to challenge for the position in the shirt.
Mm-hmm.
You've got two players there at right back. It's staying at the new. Like Ralston is unequivocally, he's your right back, like your right fucking winger, midfielder, whatever it is, inverted fullback. Juranovic is at left back because Ralston's at right back. Juranovic is a Croatian fucking international at right back. He's been performing admirably at left back. He doesn't look like a left back though. He looks uncomfortable, but he's doing a decent job. I would rather us went out and got a proper left back. You know, there's talks in the fucking social circles now that we're going to be signing the boy Hatate.
The Japanese boy, aye.
Japanese fella. So if we're going to go out and sign another left back, then that's us got about fucking 5 or 6 players on the books to know who can play at left back. You know what I mean? So, and I can't see us giving Greg Taylor a contract until 2025 just to sell him, because who's going to buy him? And that's no slight on the boy, but who's going to come in and give us a decent offer from him? You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe like an English Championship team. Pardon me?
An English Championship ping pong team or something.
Ping pong team?
I
don't know. I don't know, but we're far too top heavy at left back, mate. I kind of feel sorry for Scales. The more I think about it, I reckon it wasn't a Postecoglou signing. I feel sorry for the guy. Obviously, it's like a dream come true. He's like 23 years old. He was playing for Shamrock Rovers, and now he's signed for Celtic. So either way, he's making money. If it doesn't work out for him at Celtic, he might go down to England, whatever. But I kind of feel sorry for him because I don't really think it was a Postecoglou signing. And the more that you hear about it with the Dermot Desmond link as being a shareholder at Shamrock Rovers, you're like, oh, fuck. So we've got him, we've got Bolly, we've got Monty. Is his development going to be stunted? Surely it will be, because he's not really in the Colts team, and neither is he going to be playing ahead of all these other guys. It's a dilemma.
As it stands now, Gav, Montgomery's no the answer at left back whatsoever. He started out pretty energetic, but that was when he was kind of playing further forward in the advanced kind of full-back area, but you've seen the defensive frailties that was being caused by that kind of like new adopting the new system.
Yeah. Totally.
You seen the picture where Montgomery and Ralston, the two of them were in centre mid. You know what I mean? And there was nobody at full back at all. And then the next minute, somebody passes a killer body to either left back or right back. There's a goal, and you're like, oh, "My God, what's going on here?" I was totally perplexed. But I knew I'm seeing the fruition on the right hand side with Ralston, but that's been backed up by Juranovic's experience, because he's getting into great covering positions. He's no performing like a true left back. He's not getting doing the wings and kind of getting by a man and putting a ball in. But what he's doing is he's doing a lot of covering. You seen the tackle that he put in where he backtracked. His recovery pace was really good, and he managed to get back and steal the ball off a defender. That's what you want to see for your defence first and foremost. You want to see,
that's a good comparison. It's a good comparison between Juranovic, like as you said, he's a right back, but he's playing at left back. Good comparison because he's like of the same kind of stature as Greg Taylor. Neither of them are tall. They're probably both of them about 5'7". But Juranovic, he plays with assertiveness when he passes the ball. It looks as if like he means that because he's got another move in his head that he's going to develop on with that. It's not as if he's just passing it and seeing what happens and then like stepping back and like, okay, pass the ball to me if you want to play it safe. He's doing things deliberately. He's doing things as part of the collective in the team. He's benefiting the team. And as you said, that recovery pace that he's got, whether it's going back or going up front to support Jota on the left, he's got it. And again, he's not really a left back. So if he was playing in right back, you'd see him playing at an even greater capacity. But anyway, again, with Greg Taylor, we don't mean any ill will. We're just thinking we want to see him do well, but is that just hopes, or is it actually close to reality? Is that going to come to fruition?
But the thing is as well, just to kind of touch on it as well, like Ralston's obviously shown on the pitch his progression, his work rate, his desire, everything. He's willing to adopt the new system under Ange. He's obviously doing that in training as well. He's got a contract extension to 2025. Greg Taylor's got one as well. But Greg Taylor's obviously not shown on the pitch. He's not showing it on the training park because he's injured. So what is the purpose behind signing Taylor to 2025? I mean, what is it he's shown so far, or is showing that he's worth it?
Yeah. He's not shown it this season. He's not. And by the way, another thing, I know that we do talk about Ralston practically every episode, but another thing, see the mental fortitude that Ralston has shown this season, unbelievable. Because everybody had written him off. Well, the vast majority, myself included, I said that he's not a footballer, and like sometimes you love to be proved wrong. So what's McGinty saying? What was he saying there? Both is back up.
Sorry. Yeah, he's saying both is back up, not bad, but both need better in front of them, Juranovic level. And I'm assuming he's talking about Ralston as well.
Yeah. McGinty is content, I think, with Ralston's progress this season, but he's not been completely won over. As we said, we did call McGinty doubting Thomas. Maybe by the end of the season he'll be won over. But let's move on for that. In fact, like we were talking about the McGinty gauntlet, and it was a run of games. So this season has been broken up with all these international breaks. We've now found ourselves in another international break. But if you were to go back to the last one, we finished up the last game we played, and the previous one was Celtic away to Aberdeen. We broke the hoodoo. We won 2-1 away at Pataudry. So we had the international break, and then we came back. So between then and now, we had a chunk of 7 games, and that was really going to define how we would kind of look progress-wise, how we could kind of gauge how the Postecoglou philosophy was coming together, how the players, the new players, were gelling together. So it'd be a really good barometer, this chunk of 7 games, to see how far we have came. So just to kind of run it through, we've had 7 games, and we have only actually had one blip. That was the recent one at home to Livingston when we drew 0-0 each. But just to kind of run it through, we're starting off on the 16th of October. We won 2-0 away to Motherwell. We won 2-1 at home to Ferencvaros. Again, another 2-0 home victory to St Johnstone. And then we went away again to Hibs. We won 3-1, a dazzling performance in the first 30 minutes. And then, of course, the nothing each game at Parkhead to Livingston. But then we go off on the road again in Europe. We beat Ferencvaros 3-2. Another feather in the cap for Ange Postecoglou and the progress that the team is made, to get that vital away European victory. And of course, we just went to Dens Park there, which we've covered, beating Dundee 4-2. So out of the last 4 games, just out of the last 4 out of that 7, we've been away 3 times and we've won 3 times. Prior to the previous international break, that would have seemed not realistic, to put it that way. So, Paddy, it's the McGinty gauntlet. We're at the end of it. We've done really, really well. We're only 4 points behind Rangers. And another thing, the goal difference. We're for attack. We've got the most potent attack in the league. And we've got actually the best defence in the league. We've only conceded 9 goals in the league, and we've scored 30 goals in our favour as well. It paints a picture, despite the fact that people were lambasting the defence, and at times, yeah, rightly so, because some of the errors that we're making, it was comical. But 9 goals conceded, it's the best in the league.
So that was 30 goals scored and 9 goals conceded.
Yeah.
See, this is my problem with stats, because I don't think stats tell the full picture. But it is a really, really good stat, and I was taken aback a wee bit when you told me that earlier on. For us to have the best goal difference, that's easy to see, because Postecoglou's approach is to basically go and attack, right? Yeah. And it's almost attack first, and whatever happens at the back will happen. But to see the fact that we've scored the least amount of goals in the league, that's really pleasing. But when you think about it, like, we've conceded some shocking goals, some really, really poor goals. But we've more times than none, we've conceded the goals when we've been kind of free scoring. It's almost as if, like, as I said, but defending's a kind of an afterthought.
I think it's got better.
It has, but that's only getting better because another guy that I absolutely sorted at the start, Starfelt. I was really, really critical of him. I think I was justified. Some people might think otherwise, but he's starting to really come into his game, and he's playing alongside Vickers. The two of them work really, really well. So, like, when you're getting consistency at the back, then you would hope, you know what I mean, that you're going to be more reassured, and you're getting that as well with Ralston's defensive capabilities that he's shown, and as well as Juranovic at left back. Starfelt's obviously out. We've had to bring in Welsh. Again, that's fucked up the cohesion a wee bit, because when you seen the game against Dundee, Joe Hart was absolutely going mental at him. He was going crazy, because there was so many times that he was, a few lapses in concentration. He wasn't chasing back. He wasn't getting into the right positions. So you've got the coach at the back, who's Joe Hart. He's trying his best to get his wee pawns all set out. I think as soon as we get a definitive backline set up, then the goal difference start that we've got to now is going to be even better, because the guys up front are going to be doing their thing, and the problem area at the back will hopefully be kind of sorted out a wee bit. And as well, you've got Big Julian coming back. Big Ange says that he'll be ready for some minutes after the international break. So I'm assuming that's going to be right away, within 6 months' time. Yeah. So having Julian back is going to be a big bonus, I think, because then it's going to be it won't be a case, of having to rely on like a Welsh to be a backup to Starfelt and Vickers. It'll be a case then that you've got 3 guys that are vying to be part of the central defensive pair. So you're going to have you're going to have a proper figure coming in trying to break through, and it's not going to be a case of like Beaton having to cover. every now and again. Just leave him fucking somewhere else. Leave him being
leave him. I would love that as a caption. Beaton, leave him somewhere else.
I know he had a decent performance, right? I just can't take him as a.
We're going to talk about him. I was going to say we're going to talk to him. No, we'll talk about him. But what you said, what the point that you made at the start there about you're not a big fan of stats. I totally get it, because stats can be manipulated. I think the goals for and goals against paints a picture. I think it paints a picture of the potential on where we can go to, but the main picture is we're only second in the league. We're 4 points behind Rangers, and I think that's a fair position. We don't deserve to be top of the league with the performances we had, especially at the start of the season. Where we are is where we deserve to be right now. The league table doesn't lie in terms of points, and that's one picture. But as I said, the potential of the goals for, goals against, that's where we can be. If we cut out the mistakes, minimise the mistakes, bolster that solidity, which we have been improving. We've been gathering pace, I think, in that regard. The future's bright for Celtic. I think it'll. Well, I know that this is quite a bit away, but see, in February time will tell us where the league race is, how far we are to Rangers, how far ahead, who knows, how far behind, we do not know. February will be critical, always is. That's the kind of the championship months when you reach February. But if this is where we are right now, only 4 points behind, despite all the criticism, there's been criticism for the fans and for all quarters in the media, and former pundits as well, former Celtic players. I mean, I'm positive. I'm really, really positive. I think everybody is, but it's just it's good to put it in perspective. What I wanted to ask you was, in the last 7 games, pointed out we've won every one of them apart from the unfortunate game at Parkhead against Livy. Who would you say is your standout performer and one unsung hero for Celtic?
Gavin
Strachan?
Fuck off. Do you know what? Do you know what? Listen, they must be doing something right, because see Gavin Strachan. What I noticed about Gavin Strachan, right, was see big post. Apart from his laptop, right, I was trying to have a quick close look at what he was looking at. But see big Postecoglou just stands out on the touchline. Right, he just stands there with his arms folded, doesn't shout, doesn't do nothing, he just observes, just watches it all. I thought that Kennedy was the assistant manager, right? But what I've noticed,
think he's like a big Australian Buddha.
A Buddha,
just quiet, calm. Anyway, sorry, mate. You're talking about John Kennedy.
You're talking like Camlet a Hindu cow again. No, but that's what I was going to say. As I say, big Postecoglou stands on the sidelines, and Kennedy, in my mind, should be the number 2, but no, a shite to him. But Strachan's the one that's always coming off the bench to come up and speak to Postecoglou and then bring back the instructions to relay it amongst everybody on the bench, which I thought was quite strange. But sorry, what was the question again? I'm digressing. What was that?
No. Apart from your I like the fact that you're complimenting Gavin Strachan. That'll really wind McGinty up. But yeah, so one standout performer and one unsung hero.
Oh, that's a hard one, because I would. Can you even class Ralston as an unsung hero?
That's the thing. Like he's becoming a cult figure now.
Mate, for me, he's been one of the best players in the team, and for weeks now. Obviously, like you're Furuhashi. Furuhashi's like your star man. But Jota's slightly creeping up on him as one of your most important figures. But he's the player. He's the player that's getting everybody off their seats. He's the kind of the flair guy.
100%.
But Ralston's performances have been integral, 100%. But it's only been kind of in the short term, and this is where I can understand McGinty's point, right? Because obviously Ralston's grew into his game, so McGinty's issue is that as Ralston going through a purple patch, but I think Ralston's performing to such a standard because he's getting the chances, he's getting the support of the manager, he's getting trust and faith in him. Whereas guys like Jota's coming in and Jota's been given free rein to go and do as he pleases. Furuhashi's doing what he pleases because he's got that movement, he's got that pace, he's got the in-game intelligence. You look at the midfield, I know. Do you know what? I'll tell you what. Tom Rogic has been the unsung hero. Tom Rogic. And I'll tell you why, because Tom Rogic he's been critical, see when he's played in the midfield. And you can tell the difference when he's at the team now. You're absolutely missing some sort of link for the centre mids to the forwards. Like somebody driving through, somebody create the space, somebody dragging defenders away, somebody that's able to make something happen. Turnbull's not doing it. McGregor, to an extent, isn't doing it either, although he's playing slightly deeper back, but he's been put slightly forward because Rogic has been injured. So Rogic is my unsung hero, especially for the fact I know that he's been playing 90 minutes regularly, back to back, which is something that's totally unheard of.
Yeah.
So Rogic is the unsung hero, and then it's a toss-up between Furuhashi, Jota, and Ralston for the kind of star man.
Cool. For me, my unsung hero, I'm tempted to say Callum McGregor, because we're raving about Ralston, we're raving about Jota, we're raving about Kyogo, and rightly so. Callum McGregor's job is to make sure that this team keeps ticking, and he's not making any errors, he's not making any howlers. I know that it's not really the typical position where you would find the errors to be coming from, but I'm tempted to say him. I'm also tempted to say Cameron Carter-Vickers. I think that with Starfelt being out right now, and that was my next question. My next question to you is, how have we been coping in the last 2 games with Rogic and Starfelt out? But before we get to that, I think Cameron Carter-Vickers has been an absolute rock. He's been so dependable. I know that we don't really have a song about him yet. Maybe that's going to be coming soon. But the guy's been great. The guy's been super strong. He must be one of the strongest guys in the league. Totally different player for like your Van Dijks, you know what I mean? Not the same pace, not the same elegance or the technical capabilities, but he's been really important and significant for Celtic. If he had a dodgy start, much like Starfelt did at the start of the season, then we wouldn't be sitting 4 points behind Rangers. There'd be a further gulf. So that needs to be kind of called out. So for me, my unsung heroes are McGregor and Cameron Carter-Vickers. I've changed the rules. I'm allowing myself to for that. And up front, for the star performer, I'm going to say Jota. In the last 7 games, Jota's been immense. And I just hope that he wants to be a permanent Celtic player. So I think it's about 6.5 million. That's the figure that's going to take for us to make it a permanent signing. But Benfica have already put it in the contract that's what they'll accept. Celtic, of course, will pull that trigger. I've got no doubt in my mind that we will do. But it's about the ambition. It's about the happiness of this boy Jota. He's 22 years old. He's never really given a great run at things with Benfica. He went on loan to Vallecano in La Liga. I think he was getting taken off a lot of times around about the hour mark. He wasn't playing the full 90 minutes. He wasn't really showing exactly what he could do. But now he's had this stint in Glasgow. He's only been here for 3-4 months. He's ripping it up, man. I just really hope that he wants to stay in Scotland. But yeah, that's my top performer.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you think that Jota's worth the £6.5 million now?
No. If we were to sell him, say for example, we were to sell him in January, if he was a Celtic player, we'd be looking for 20 fucking million.
I can't disagree with that. I think the guy's shown in such a short space of time that
in Europe and domestically.
Aye, absolutely. He's shown that he's the player that everybody wants. He's the player that's going to get you off your seat. He's the player that's going to make things happen during the game. He's the player that's going to take things by the scruff of the neck, take a defender on. It's everything that you want to see in your winger or your one of your three-pronged attack forwards. And I'm honestly looking forward to January. I want to see him turn it up at Celtic Park against them. I'm looking forward to seeing him rip Tavernier a new one. And hopefully we've got the wee speed merchant, Maeda, on the right-hand side. That's a front three that I'm absolutely buzzing to hopefully see. I'm hoping the reports are true that we're going to sign this Maeda, because as we were talking about earlier on, the Japanese left back legend, Nagatomo, ex-Inter Milan player. He's absolutely raving about him. I think he's playing for FC Tokyo now, and he played against Maeda just the other day there, and he says that during that match he created 55 sprints. Now that doesn't really say too much to me, apart from the fact that he's always on the press.
Perpetual motion, yes.
Something like not just running about like a headless chicken, as you were thinking. But if we've got a player like that who's just constantly on the move, see like a Furuhashi type, but this guy looks absolutely rapid, and he will rip it up. You know what I mean?
There's a lot to be said about the unselfish runs that people make. You know, sometimes like you make a run and you might not be getting the ball. You know full well that you're not going to be getting the ball, but you're making a run to drag defenders out of position to create space for your teammates, and that's the mark of a team player. I think in that game that Maeda was talked about by Nagatomo. He scored a hat-trick in that game, and he's the top scorer right now in the J League. With about 20 odd goals. They're not going to win the league. We're talking about Ange's old team, Yokohama Marinos. They're not going to win the league. It's about to already be mathematically impossible. But
no, it's finished, Gav. The league's finished.
Oh, is it? All right, fuck.
Yeah, the wee fella Hatate, his team won the league.
Yeah.
What
are they called? Are they called like the Antlers or something? Or am I just making that up?
I can't mind. The fucking
the Japanese Antlers,
the Japanese Pandas or something. But no, we Hatate's team won that, and there was a video shared whenever kind of Celtic were thrown into the mix. We Hatate was in tears at the end of the game, and that looked as if like that was his farewell. So hopefully he's coming to say hello to us.
They're an emotional bunch, aye. But hey, more competition for Celtic, aye, at left back. That'll, my God, man, they'll need to do like a left back death match where they fight it out, you know.
like a left back Squid Games.
Although it's not Korean, it's Japanese this time, mate. Aye. Who would your money be on if it was between Monty, Juranovic, Bolly Goalie, Scales, Taylor, or the new guy, Hatate? Who do you think would win?
Certainly would be Greg Taylor anyway. He'd be the run you'd want to pick, wouldn't he? I don't know.
Imagine if Bolly won. Imagine how good you'd be.
Do you know what? I reckon Bolly would win Squid Games, aye. For the left back position anyway, because he would probably just fucking shaggy or something and just...
The underdog. The year of the underdog, yes.
But no, just to hark back to that, it's some predicament to be in, the amount of players that you go in that position. See when Celtic like kind of historically haven't had a lot of players in the left back position. I can't remember a time that we've actually had 3 players for left back.
We're stockpiling left backs now.
I know. And even what you were talking about earlier as well, like we signed, well, on paper, we signed Bolly for 3 million. We signed Taylor for 3 million. When have you ever heard of Celtic signing a left back for £2 million? I've never heard that. The last one that I can remember is paying kind of decent money was Ulrich Larsson. I think we paid 1.5 million for him.
For Hibs, aye.
For Hibs, aye. And it was the same way. It was the same when we signed Julian as well. I think the most that we'd ever paid for a centre back was 3 million for Valarm. So that was in 2000. And then we went out and spent 7 million on Julian. You know what I
Did we
mean?
know Alan Stubbs back in the day? He was quite expensive. He was over 3 million, I'm sure. Maybe 3.5 or 4 for Everton.
Aye.
Bolton we bought him for.
It was about 3.6 or something. But that's what I'm saying. The last time that we paid that much for a centre back was like Fulham. So we never really historically spend money on the back line. So whenever we signed Bolly and Taylor, so that was £6 million. Then we signed Julian. Well, I think we signed Julian first, but round about the same kind of period. Signed Julian for the 7 million. We paid £2 million for what's his name? The guy at right back. El Hamid.
Yes.
And then we signed Barkas for £5 million. You know what I mean? Out with Julian, who's still got question marks against him for some people. we've spunk some amount of money on absolute shite at the back.
See, if you were like the accountant for Celtic, I would be saying, care to explain yourself, pal. You know what I mean? Like some of the buys that we've made, the purchases, unbelievable. If only we could get a wee mind like Lee Naylor's opening season for Celtic, how good he was, and Emilio his opening season for Celtic. But we went for for Kieran Tierney, who earns a 25 million move to Arsenal because he's that good, to now literally stockpiling left backs, and we can't choose between them. We really can't. However, we've got Josip Juranovic. The only predicament, the only dilemma is that he's really a right back, and we wonder eventually will he be moved over to his natural position, then creating the void again.
But as you say, we've got all the left backs, and we're playing a right back at left back.
Aye.
And we've just given Greg Taylor a new contract to 2025. So
it's becoming a soap drama, the left back soap drama. It really is. It's ridiculous.
As you say, it's went for the left back lottery to the fucking God. No, I don't even know what to call it. It's just it's bizarre. It really is. Surely to God, like in January, you're going to see like a.
See in the cafeteria, like during training when they're having lunch in the cafeteria, do you think they have like a wee table where it's all for the left backs and they just eat lunch together, or do you think they hate each other and they never talk to each other? I'm just creating drama in my head right now. Right, why don't we kind of finish up on the last question? The last 2 games we've had Roderick and Starfelt. They've been absent due to both of them have got hamstring injuries. So maybe they set their own wee corner as well in the cafeteria too. And now you've brought in Beaton and Welsh. How have Beaton and Welsh acquitted themselves in the last 2 games? And it was, we beat Ferencvaros 3-2 away. A really important victory. And we beat Dundee 4-2 at Dens Park. So, Beaton and Welsh, how have they acquitted themselves?
I'll start with Stephen Welsh. We all kind of championed him getting a shot when Starfelt pulled his hamstring. He got that shot, which I was surprised with because I honestly thought that Beaton was going to start at the back. You looked at the Dundee game and I thought he was average at best. You seen Joe Hart, as I said earlier on, he was screaming at him. Not just at him, a few others, but most noticeably at Welsh. He was out of position. He wasn't particularly aggressive. I think he got booked early on, didn't he? He just didn't really show the same kind of defensive solidity that he did kind of in some spells at the start of the season. So for that reason, I'm desperate to have Starfelt back, which I don't think I would ever have heard myself saying at the start of the season. I'm shocked. Totally
Remember
shocked.
These words.
I will need to get a wee compilation up
before and after.
Aye, but more so, I'm totally looking forward to Julian coming back because I would rather see those 3 compete it out with Welsh as the backup. But as I say, sorry, back to the game. He was average at best, poor in some moments and average in the rest. Beaton, for me, is the jobby that won't flush at Celtic Park.
I like
the guy's been here for what? I think he's due a testimonial next year or something. We just cannot get rid of him. He must have some dirt on some chief executive up the top. He must have like nude photos of somebody with like a wee half-inch willy or something. Just we just cannot get rid of this guy. But in saying that, he had a decent game at Dundee. Nothing particularly outstanding. He got his foot in the ball, had some decent passes, and it was all right. But as you said about Taylor, about a guy that kind of performs when the team's performing, that's for me. That's Beaton, right? And Beaton's been getting played as a midfielder for the first time in about fucking 5 years. But again, no for me. I don't like him. Nothing personal again. I just don't like his style. I think he slows the ball down. I don't think as the kind of deep lying midfielder or the defensive midfielder, he offers that defensive cover, physicality. He's just a guy that will put his foot in the ball and pass it. He'll make you simple passes. And other than that, he doesn't really do much else in that. So for me, I'd be getting at the Dettol, the wire brush, getting him out, flushing him away.
Right, okay, well, that's actually a good...
No offence, big man, but no.
That's a good point to bring it to a close. I thought that was going to be a really boring one, boring final question there, but you turned it around. Thank you for that, mate. Right, okay, so, a weekly roundup for the Jungle Gyms. I think we've kind of covered everything. It's international break for the viewers and for us, so we'll try and get some new content out, try and keep it exciting, try and see what ideas we can come up with until Celtic next play another competitive game. And hopefully no more new injuries during the international break. That's the last thing that we want. I think Kyogo, he's going to be playing, I think his first game is away in Vietnam and then some other dodgy place. So hopefully he keeps safe.
I hope there's nobody for Vietnam watching.
You never know, mate. Right, so if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button, and give us a comment if you want. Share it with anybody else who'd be interested. And obviously, Twitter, we're on Twitter, check us out. I forget the Twitter handle, it's the Jungle Gyms Pod, probably, or something like that. We've got a Facebook page as well. If you like Facebook, then talk to us there. And we're on Spotify too. Spotify is good. Give that a try. Right, so from me, from you, Paddy, the Jungle Gyms, it's been a good one. I've enjoyed it.
For the next one, we'll try and get the proper Twitter name. McGinty's probably sitting watching this today going, you bastards.
I'm sure he is. If he's still awake. Right, anyway, loved it. Have a good one. Okay. Good night.
Cheers, guys.